Okay, and now we're just going to have that brief delay that I warned you about as we connect over to meet our mighty mystery fam, our mighty mystery friends and fam over on Facebook. And it looks like we are live. Yay.
Oh my God,
So
I'm terrified. The whole world is watching.
the whole world is watching, Lee. This is your moment.
Thank God I'm wearing pants.
Exactly. We don't need
And
another
thank God I cleaned off the clout. They cleaned off the couch. Last time I did one of these, I didn't know I had dirty socks on the couch. That's all I could see the whole interview was the dirty socks.
Hey, we love to keep it real here on A Mighty Blaze. So welcome everyone watching on Facebook. Welcome to Mighty Mysteries. I'm your on-air host, Sarah DeVello, and I am thrilled to be hosting #1 New York Times bestselling author and TV writer, Lee Goldberg, who's here to chat with us about his brand new book in his Eve Ronin series, Bone Canyon. Lee, welcome to Mighty Mysteries. Tell us about your book.
It's great to be here. It's the sequel to my internationally best-selling book, Lost Hills, from last year. It's about Eve Ronin, the youngest female homicide detective in Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. But she didn't get that job from skill or experience. She got it because she got a lot of fame for face planting this Hollywood star who was beating up his girlfriend. Ooh. And she arrested him while she was off duty, and that video went viral, and she leveraged that into a promotion that she doesn't deserve. So she's constantly having to prove herself, and she has a lot of innate skill, but she still makes a lot of mistakes.
Ooh, this female protagonist sounds kick-ass and right up my alley, right up our Mighty Mystery listeners, friends, and fam alley. I am fully intrigued and I need to know all of the details. I just want to welcome everybody on Facebook. Welcome Bruce, welcome Gail. Gail saying hi, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. Sharon, welcome. She's saying hi from Minnesota. The one good thing about this pandemic is that we have gone global and people log on from everywhere. So feel free to tell us where you're listening from today. If you've never been here before, welcome. We're thrilled to have you. Here's how it works. If you've been here before, you know how it works. This is your chance to access our featured author. This is your chance to pick Lee Goldberg's brilliant brain. Ask him about writing, about mystery, about suspense, about writing for Spencer for Hire and Flipper, and maybe for Playgirl magazine. We're going to need to know more about that, Lee. So get your questions going. My producer and partner in crime, pun intended, my fellow author, Margaret Pinard, is handling things over on Facebook. Margaret, thank you so much for everything. So she's going to get these questions to us. I'm going to be monitoring them here. So this is your time. Bob saying hi from Boston. Joanne, welcome. So great to have everybody here. So I know it always takes me. Heather saying Happy New Year from Northeast Florida. Welcome. Great to have you. So I know it always takes me a minute to think of my questions, and sometimes it doesn't happen until 3 a.m. the next day. So while everybody's thinking for a minute, I have got to share a few words of praise that Lee has earned with this book, because it is just doing, I mean, you guys got to listen to this. Okay, so where shall I start? Mystery.
Start with what my mother said. No,
so Lee's mother wanted him to become a doctor. His grandfather, I'm doing all this from memory, by the way, Lee, where's my props? Your grandfather wanted you to go into the family furniture business, but Lee took his own detour and went to UCLA, where he worked his way through school as a journalist, then wrote his first book. And we're going to talk about all of that, but I've got to share just a few words of praise that this book has earned. So a Mystery and Suspense Magazine 2021 Best Book of the Year selection, Library Journal awarded it a starred review, raving Goldberg follows Lost Hills with a riveting, intense story. Readers of Cabin Slaughter and Michael Connolly will want to try this. Publishers Weekly says Goldberg knows how to keep those pages turning. Let's pause on that, because Publishers Weekly is not, that praise is earned. I think the New York Times called them reliably cantankerous. So tell us, how do you write a book that earns praise like this? How do you keep those pages turning?
I would have been earning the praise a long time ago. My technique has changed over the years. What I try to do now is to make the writing invisible. I don't let the writing call attention to itself. I don't want the reader to be reminded they're reading the book. I want them to get so caught up in the story and the character that the pages sort of disappear. And I do that by moving the story forward through action and dialogue, rather through my brilliant, clever, witty prose and wonderful skill with a metaphor. I try to make the writing just vanish. And I think that is what has made the book more readable or compulsive than maybe some of my earlier work. I think we as writers have a tendency to fall in love with our own voices, and I think that voice can intrude on moving a story forward.
Ooh, Lee Goldberg dropping gems of wisdom and cutting straight to the truth.
Dropping gems
through,
of wisdom.
Through
That's
that,
a first. I've dropped a lot, but not gems of wisdom. I'm trying to drop some pounds. That's not happening either.
Oh my, yeah, you and me both. I've gained my quarantine 14 as well.
You are running the de-chinning app, right?
Oh no, but I need to know what that is. Immediately, I just lifted my chin. I need that de-chinning app immediately because we're in the middle of a pandemic and my only comfort is popcorn and chocolate. But Lee, what I love about what you said is that you cut straight through writerly ego. We're getting hearts up and likes from Facebook. Anissa is laughing, she says, at your de-chinning app comments.
Why is she laughing? She should have sympathy. God, I got so many chins that my neck is sore from holding them up.
Oh my gosh.
It's rough.
These are lies from Lee Goldberg. There is no chin problem here. There is no chin problem on you, sir. And this is one of our top community members. Anissa, welcome back. Good to have you. Also giving us hearts there. Margaret saying, Eve Ronin sounds like a badass. I totally agree. So let's talk about writing. How do you write a kick-ass, badass female protagonist? How do you get inside her head, inside our heads? Tell us.
It's funny you mentioned that because my wife, who's French, says, I don't understand how you write such good female characters when you do not understand women at all. I want to marry the person who wrote that book and not you. I think it's because I have so many strong, wonderful women in my life. I mean, I have a strong wife, I have a strong daughter, but I was raised by a single mother. I've got strong sisters. I love women, and I'm really infuriated by the way women are portrayed in books, particularly by men. Men seem to think that all women think about are their breasts and what men can do to them. And that's not, I don't think that's how most women think. So it was that frustration. And also I wrote 15 monk novels based on the TV series, which I also wrote for. And I wrote them first person in the voice of Natalie, Monk's assistant. And I desperately missed that voice. So I set out to write from a woman's point of view, just to have more fun. And also because I am I should rephrase this. I'm a huge fan of police procedurals. I love what Michael Connelly has done. I love Joseph Wambaugh. I love Ian Rankin, but there are so many imitators of those authors. And I'm so tired of the middle-aged male detective who's brilliant at his job, but unappreciated by his superiors, who has a dark, tragic past. A serial killer murdered his family. He lost a testicle in the Vietnam War. He's an alcoholic, or I mean, whatever. I wanted somebody that we could relate to more. And I thought the idea of a woman in her 20s trying to break through the glass ceiling, trying to prove herself to everyone around her and to herself would be much more interesting to write and much more interesting to read than so much of what else is out there in the police procedural space right now. And who better to write that than a middle-aged fat Jewish guy? Let's be honest. If you're going to write a kick-ass woman, you want a white Jewish middle-aged guy to do it. And I'm that guy.
And you're that guy. Oh my gosh. Well, okay. First of all, I'm getting an ab workout today. I'm going to call Laughing This Hard my ab workout for the week. So thank you for that.
Why are you laughing? I'm bearing my soul as dark and honest as I can be, holding back tears, and you're laughing?
I think it was the lost
I'm heading straight to therapy after this.
I think it was the lost testicle comment that put me over the edge.
Oh, you didn't read the Ballless Detective? That's one of the darkest, most tragic Scottish police procedurals you'll ever read.
Oh my God. Oh,
his family was killed by a serial killer, and his dog was massacred by a neighbor. And
oh my God, no, not the dog. And I just heard a dog barking, so I know you're a dog fan too.
There's a dog who wants desperately to come in this office.
Yes, I have my
little on that couch.
My co-host is asleep on the couch. She's at REM 5, having just taken her third walk of the day. No, but what I want to say is that when you read what you said is that you love women and you appreciate women and you were raised by strong women. And when you're reading that, you can feel that. When, as a reader, I can feel that you appreciate women, you love women, you respect women. And that comes through, the energy of that comes through. So I'm very interested to learn that you were raised by a single mother, and you have your, the strong partner and your French wife and strong daughter. This is wonderful. And the energy comes through because I have noticed, and audience, I want to hear what you guys think. Have you seen men get it right? Have you seen men get it wrong? Tell us what you think in the comments. What do you like about,
Well, I think
men writing women?
the other key is to write a woman, not as a woman, but as a character, as a person, as somebody
Yes.
well-rounded, who has strengths and weaknesses, who has hopes
Yes.
and fears, and who isn't just about who she is physically. I mean, when men write women, they seem to be writing, I know the phrase the male gaze, but it's more about this strange fantasy of how they want women to think. That, and it's just so weird and adolescent the way so many men write women. And I'm weird and adolescent. I just control that when I'm at the computer. And I also think, what will my wife and daughter think reading this? If I write a woman who's all about her breasts and what guy she can sleep with next or whatever, I'm going to catch such hell from my sisters, my wife, my sisters-in-law. The ghost of my
Yes.
mother will haunt me even more than she already does.
Exactly. But I have to say, I've read men writing women exactly as you said. We're talking about stereotypes, but I've seen that happen. I've read them, and I find myself thinking, the energy that this male author has spent with reflecting on his female protagonist's body, and specifically her breast, is more time than I have ever spent thinking about
Exactly.
mine.
Exactly.
So
Well,
it's so
also,
interesting.
I wanted a heroine who doesn't need to be rescued by a man. I wanted a
Yes.
heroine who, when she's punched, gets bruised, but who can throw a
Yes.
punch as well. I
Oh, I
want
love that.
a heroine who has the same insecurities that men do, that
Yes.
everybody does, but also has the same drive, the same ambition, the same self-delusion. I wanted to write a
Yes.
character. I wanted to write a
Right.
character that I would find interesting spending 5 months with as I write these books.
Is that how long it takes you, Lee?
Yes, I write 2 books a year. It takes me 5 months to write each one. The month in between, I spend relaxing and plotting the next book, ideally. For me, that's the perfect pace. And in addition to writing 2 books a year, I also end up writing a few TV scripts as well, or
Yeah.
movie scripts, depending on what's going on. So I balance those two writing careers, and I think 2 books a year is just right. I had several years where I was writing 4 books a year while also writing and producing TV shows, and it just about killed me.
Yeah, I'm feeling exhausted just hearing about that. I mean, my God, I'm amazed that you write 2 books a year. That's amazing.
I have an
I bow to
expensive
your
dog.
pace. Yeah, exactly. My dog has expensive taste too, but she makes do with the kibble. um, so let me ask you. So what does the process look like? So in those 5 months, do you write the whole draft, not look at it once, then go back, or do you revise as you go?
Well, the first thing
Walk
I
us through
do
it.
is I research.
Mhm.
Once I come up with my story, I go to the places I'm writing about. If it's an international thriller, I get on a plane and I go to the places that are going to be in the book. If I'm writing about a field I don't know about, I will find experts in that field and interview them.
Mhm.
Or I will take courses or read books and articles, watch videos. I will research what I need to know, not so I can inundate you with all the research and prove what a brilliant researcher I am, but just so it's in the back of my mind and informing what I write. And so I
Oh.
can just find that one salient detail of a place or a person or a profession or a technique that will
Mm.
ground my story in reality so I can make everything else up. So you'll buy all the other crap I'm throwing at you. If I can convince you of the reality of one aspect, you'll stick with me for the rest. So during that month, I will do the research, and then I will write a beat sheet, an outline, a
Ooh.
broad stroke outline of the key clues in the mystery or the key events in the story, emotionally or dramatically. And then I will start writing. And I do my best writing between 8 p.m. and 2 in the morning. And
Me
then when I
too.
get up in the morning, I will rewrite the crap I did the night before all day and start the rewriting about 8 p.m. that night. So I'm constantly rewriting as I go. And I'm also constantly rewriting my outline as I go. I call them living outlines because I finish my outline about a week before I finish my book, because I follow the outline, but I don't stick to it slavishly. And I'll make changes that require me to change the outline. I'll keep someone alive who's supposed to die, or I'll make some new discovery I hadn't thought of when I was plotting the book out, or see aspects of character I want to explore, or discover something on a research trip that I want to add to the book. So I'm always revising my outline and my book as I go, and always cutting. I
Ooh.
like to deliver a lean, tight book to my editors, and I hate exposition, meaning I hate boring explanations of background. I like all this stuff to come out naturally in the course of a story,
Ooh.
not have it all just dropped in front of you in an info dump. So I'm always cutting exposition, and I'm cutting a lot of my favorite jokes and favorite lines, because I think it pulls readers away. If they see it in the prose, they're reminded they're reading. So if I
Ooh.
can't put it in the character's mouth and have it flow naturally, I cut it. So I do a lot of, I'm a vicious editor of my own work.
Ooh, ooh. So asking for a friend, and the friend is me.
Asking for a friend.
Asking for a friend whose name is
Asking for a friend is a yoga teacher with my book behind her on screen. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Whose name is Shmara. For Shmara, how do you let yourself get vicious? How do you not get attached to the work that you have slaved so hard over?
I think it comes from, I come from a family of journalists, and I was a journalist
Okay.
before, and I can separate myself emotionally from my writing. I don't get offended if people criticize my writing or make cuts and stuff. I've seen my work revised, and I've been in television. I've had scripts of mine rewritten to death. I've had actors rewrite my dialogue. I've had scenes cut for time or budget or whatever. I am used to having my work messed with. And I'm used to having to do things I don't want to my own work. I'll give you a good example. I was working on a terrible show called Cobra. It's an action adventure show up in Vancouver with this guy named Michael Dudikoff playing a kung fu hero who solves people's problems. Terrible show. But we had this wonderful action sequence in the forest with the military and explosions and tanks, and the whole episode had been building up to this climax. But then this enormous blizzard came into Vancouver, and we had to move the finale to our nearest covered set, which happened to be a high school gymnasium. So I had to rewrite the finale of the show to take place in a high school gymnasium. It was awful, but I had no choice. It was television. We had 7 days to shoot this episode. There was a blizzard. We're shooting another episode on Tuesday. You just do what you have to do to get the show made. So I've made lots of changes over the years, and I've had stars tell me to make changes I didn't want to make. I've had the networks tell me to make changes I didn't want to make. I've taken big, giant, steaming dumps on my own script many times. So I'm used to editing my own work and desecrating my own work. I have no trouble taking a dispassionate look, especially in the light of morning. I'll write something at 2 a.m. I just think is
brilliant.
This is getting me the Edgar Award.
Yes.
If not the Edgar, the Nobel.
Maybe the Oscar.
I'm a master storyteller. I'm so good. Everything I write is a master class in mysteries. So I go to bed thinking that. And then I wake up in the morning and I look at this hideous slop, this run-on sentences and one cliche after another. I go, what the hell? And I spend all day rewriting this god-awful writer who turned in his draft to me that morning. So it's almost like I'm dealing with a different person. There's the me during the day and the hack at night I'm forced to rewrite every day.
Oh, yeah, I think there's only one explanation. That is aliens come and mess with your work every night.
That's right.
And Mrs. says she can't stop laughing. Sharon says, this is so entertaining today. I absolutely love it. Welcome, Jeffrey. And this is a top community member here with us. Cheryl, welcome. Welcome, Nancy. Welcome, Mindy. Welcome, Kathy. Welcome, Charlotte. Welcome, Sue. We're getting hearts up and love from Facebook. Welcome, Heather. Welcome, Linda. Oh my goodness. So great to have everybody here. Any questions for Lee? Just get them right over to it. Mindy says, just joining in. Yes, have seen your name on TV. I love your books with Janet Ivanovich. She says, she is so honored to meet you, Lee.
Well, I'm honored to meet you, even through Facebook. And I'm glad you enjoy the books with Janet. I'm hoping that she will let go of my coattails and finally make it on her own. I think she's got great potential. If she just stop, relying on me and just go out there and write her own thing.
Yeah, she can't just keep hitching her wagon to your star, Lee. I mean,
joking aside, I learned so much from Janet. I mean, I thought I knew how to write. I thought I knew my own voice as a writer. And those 5 books I did with Janet taught me that as tight as I thought I was writing, it wasn't tight enough. And
Ooh.
I learned a lot from her. And people, I'm sure, read her books and think, oh, she just writes them in a flash, and
Yeah.
it's so much fun for her. And
She's a goddess. Yeah.
she works her ass off. She's one of the hardest working writers I've ever met. And we had a great run on those 5 books. We had a lot of fun.
That's yeah, absolutely amazing. We'd love to hear more about that. Mindy says she loves that you have such a great sense of humor. Mindy says she's laughing at the idea that Jenna Ivanovich is writing your coattails. Gail would like to know. Gail, also a top community member. Hi, Gail. Happy New Year. Says, Lee, do you prefer writing books, scripts, or something else better? Tell us.
I'm a writer first and foremost, whether I'm writing television shows or books, and they're 2 entirely different experiences.
Yeah.
The great thing about writing for TV, also one of the bad things, one of the great things about writing for TV is you're not alone. You're in a room with 6 or 7 other extremely clever writers. So if you're having a bad day, you're not quite able to get to where you're trying to get to as you're plotting, there's someone in the room who will say, I see what you're trying to do, and will push you over the edge. And you also have them there to stop you from relying on your worst impulses, to push you away from your own personal cliches and crutches, pushing you to be better. And I love that camaraderie. I love that I can, if I'm having trouble with a scene, I can walk into another writer's office and say, God, you know that scene, the party scene, I'm having so much trouble doing X, Y, and Z. And I can talk it out with them, or let them take a pass at the scene even. It's great. On the other hand, it's everybody's point of view, and everyone has a note, everyone has an input, and the great thing about a book is you're entirely on your own. You're the writer, you're the director, you're the actors. It's just you, and there's no one saying, I'm sorry, this isn't the budget, we can't shoot this in 7 days, 4 days on our standing sets, 3 days on location. Are you out of your mind? And by the way, the star has decided he cannot ever say the word the. So if you write all the dialogue so the isn't there because his psychic colorist said the word the is making him impotent. So you have to deal with this stuff, and you don't have to deal with that in a book. No, the characters don't say the makes me impotent. You can just go right into it. And I do miss being in a writer's room. And also a script, I can write an hour-long script in a few days. It takes me 5 months to write a book. Scripts are a lot faster because it's all dialogue and action driven.
I'm sorry, did you say a few days?
Yeah. If you write an hour-long show, I've written an hour-long script in as quickly as 48 hours if I have to. But I've written them pretty quickly. I don't think I've ever taken more than 10 days to write an hour-long script, but that would be on the outside. I've taken 10 days to write a 90-minute script or 2-hour script, but in any case, the scripts are faster because you just go in room day. The 2 guys walk in, they see the dead body, and here's what they say. Where in a book, you've got to really set the scene. And point of view is pretty clear in a script. It's harder to establish in a book. But all the techniques I learned writing television, I now apply to my books. Ooh. If a scene doesn't have conflict, if the dialogue doesn't reveal character, move the story forward, I cut it. I try to use television techniques whenever possible in the telling of my stories. Ooh. And I think it makes them better.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Again, Lee Goldberg just dishing out those gems left, right, and center like lemon drops. This is amazing. Like Gail would like to know, Lee, do you have a favorite actor or actress that you've worked with? Ooh, tell us.
I'm not going to tell you. You're out of your mind? I'm going to alienate every actor I've ever worked with. They're all wonderful.
Okay.
And their notes are all brilliant, and I hold them close to my heart. Yes. Because they make me a better writer, but not just a better writer, a better human being. And they help me know myself better as a man, a father, and a husband.
Yeah, exactly. With those notes, you have seen God, you know the secrets of the universe. It all came together.
I really enjoyed working with Dick Van Dyke. He was an absolute pleasure, an absolute pro. There are others I enjoyed working with less.
Those are the ones I want to hear about.
The talking dolphin on Sequest, what a son of a bitch. So demanding.
Yeah, exactly. Fun fact about Lee, he's also written for Flipper. The movie.
No.
Sorry, the show.
I wrote not for the original show. I'm not as old as I look. I wrote for the new
Flipper.
Flipper.
The
one
Flipper.
Our Jessica Alba that she's erased from her resume. That Flipper I wrote for.
Flipper 2.0.
Yes.
Oh
You didn't know
God.
Jessica Alba starred in Flipper, did you?
No,
She did.
I didn't. Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it. I'm just
And so you know who else wrote for Flipper, the TV show? The new Flipper that I did? Terrence Winter, the Emmy Award-winning Sopranos writer.
Wow.
And Shane Brennan, who created NCIS Los Angeles, and so many writers who went on to bigger and better things got their start
on Flipper.
In the new adventures of Flipper, honed their craft and their voice.
On that dorsal fin. They just honed that craft on the dorsal fin. That's amazing. I did not know that. That is very, very cool.
Terrence Winter started running for a mammal, then Leonardo DiCaprio. Started with Australian directors you never heard of, then Martin Scorsese.
Exactly. Hey, I think I'm making a mental note right now. Apply for job with Flipper.
Hey, not only have I written for one dolphin, I've written for two.
Wow.
Two. How many writers have you interviewed who've written for two dolphins?
0.
I wrote for a talking dolphin on Sequest as well, which was a childhood dream come true. I used to lie in bed at night in Walnut Creek, California, dreaming of the day when I could write science fiction adventures for a talking dolphin on a penis-shaped submarine. And that dream came true.
And then that dream came.
Hey, Steven Spielberg was the executive producer, so I wasn't the only one.
Wow.
on that voyage.
Oh my gosh, Lee, there is. I mean, we need to hear. We need your memoir or biography or something, because there is nothing you haven't done. You're amazing. And
can I get you to notarize that for my wife?
Yeah, exactly. Dear Madame, je suis Sarah. And Nissa would like to know, do you prefer to write series or standalone books? It seems like a series allows for so much room for character development. Yeah, let's talk about that, because you've done a bunch of series. You've done the Ian Ludlow, you've done the Janet Ivanovich, you've done the Monk. This is your second Eve Ronin book. Tell us, what do you think about that?
There's a comfort level in series, because once you get to know a character, you know how they're going to react in any story situation. Ooh. And it makes it easier in some ways to plot a book, but also makes it more interesting. So you're exploring new facets of somebody you've come to care about quite a bit. But it can also force you into a rut. I think you can become a little formulaic and mechanical if you tell the same stories, not the same stories, but you tell stories about the same people all the time. That's why I quit writing those Monk books after the 15th. I'd run out of stories. It's why I stopped writing the Diagnosis Murder novels after 8 of them, because I'd already done 100 episodes of the show and 8 books. There was nothing more to say without repeating myself. Ooh. And I've tried to write standalone books, and I think I've only succeeded twice. But when I say tried, my book True Fiction was a standalone that was so successful that the publisher immediately asked for sequels, which had never occurred to me. So I ended up writing 2 sequels to that book. And I wrote a book called King City that was supposed to be the start of a series, but then the Janet Ivanovich opportunity came along, and that kind of got pushed back to the side. Same thing, I wrote a book called Watch Me Die that was supposed to be the beginning of the series, but then I got so busy on a TV show that got put aside. So I think the only book I've written that's been a standalone and it would be The Walk, about a guy who's stuck in downtown Los Angeles when the big one hits and has to walk back to his gated community in Calabasas. And Watch Me Die and King City. But those 3, only one, The Walk, was designed to be a standalone. I didn't envision ever doing a sequel to that book.
Do you see more Eve Ronin stories coming forward?
God, I hope so. Because I know for a fact there's a 3rd. It's already written. It's called Gated Prey. It'll be out in October. It's finished. It's done. The question now will be, if the book we're talking about today sells well enough for the publisher to say, we need you to start working on a 4th one. So we'll see. Right now, actually, I'm in a situation I haven't been in as long as I can remember. I have a contract to do nothing. I don't have any TV shows to write. I don't have any books to write. I do have a job application in Arby's that I'm waiting for. But otherwise, this is the first time in my professional career that I can remember where I don't have any obligations. So I'm kind of, hoping this interview doesn't end, because I have nothing to do when this is over.
Well, we don't want it to end either. And you have to come back and talk to us again in October, because you are fabulous and this is so much fun. And through our very special partnership with bookshop.org, which supports independent bookstores, we are promoting your book today for sale through them. So you can grab a copy of Lee's book and support indie bookstores, which since the beginning of the pandemic, tragically, one independent bookstore a week has gone out of business. So when we come out of this pandemic, we want independent bookstores to be alive and well. We want to be able to have stores to go and browse in and have a cup of coffee and enjoy the smell of that freshly printed paper book. So when you buy Lee's book through bookshop.org today, and Margaret's going to post the link, you're supporting independent bookstores and you're getting this page turner, so says the notorious and amazing Kirkus Reviews, to boot. So it's an all-around great deal. And this book has also earned, I have to share a few more words of praise. Meg Gardner saying Lee Goldberg puts the pro in police procedural. Bone Canyon is fresh, sharp, and absorbing. Give me more Eve Ronin ASAP. Meg Gardner speaking for all of us. Steph Cha saying Bone Canyon is a propulsive procedural that provides high thrills in difficult terrain, grappling thoughtfully with sexual violence, police corruption, as well as the minefield of politics and media in Hollywood and suburban Los Angeles. Yum. The yum is mine, not Steph Cha's. Eve Ronin is a fantastic series lead, stubborn and driven, working twice as hard as her colleagues, both to prove her worth and to deliver justice for the dead. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Kirkus going on to say an energetic, resourceful procedural starring a heroine who deserves a series of her own. Bookless saying a cop novel so good it makes much of the old guard read like they're just going through the motions until they can retire. Wow, amazing praise there, Lee. Bookless going on to say the real appeal here is Goldberg's lean prose, which he's already told us about, which is amazing, which imbues just the facts procedural with remarkable tension and cranks it up to a stunning description of a fire that was like, quote, Christmas in hell. Again, amazing, amazing, amazing praise. I'm sure we all can't wait to read this book. We have just a few minutes left with Lee, so I just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody's questions. I'm scanning through. Mindy saying, this is so much fun to listen to and much needed for me today. Books and authors have been the best escape for me, especially during this pandemic. Meeting authors like Lee virtually has literally been a lifesaver for me. Fun, so fun to see the face behind so many of these projects. Yay, Lee, thanks for sharing your project and your face with us today. And this agreeing, so much fun. Welcome Amy saying, I am definitely getting the book. Amy Tannenbaum's giving us the claps, clapping for us. Minnie saying, well-deserved praise, I'm sure. Margaret asking, is there anywhere to get signed copies? Great question during a pandemic. Lee, is there anything we can do for that?
Yes, you'll be able to get signed copies from a great independent bookstore, Poison Pen in Scottsdale. You'll also be able to get signed copies from Murder by the Book in Houston.
Okay,
and I believe you may be able to get signed copies from Boswell Books in Milwaukee.
Okay, perfect. So Poisoned Pen, Boswell Books, and Murder by the Book.
Murder by the Book.
Okay, perfect. Because I think
my book smells like Oreo cookies and Diet Coke.
It just keeps getting better.
It does. So you can live vicariously through my books, the food you can't eat during the pandemic.
Yay. And is that your go-to snack, Diet Coke and Oreos?
No, right now it's keto bars. Atkins bars.
Did you
imagine an Oreo cookie?
You're like, this is an Oreo, this is an Oreo, this is an Oreo. No, it's just a keto.
It tastes like cardboard, but it's an Oreo.
I love it. Mindy saying she also wants to get a signed copy. We all do. This sounds amazing. Lee, thank you so much for this. So we had a couple of questions that were submitted in advance. Anne from Thrillaholics asking, what is one thing you want people to walk away from this book with?
My book. I want them to walk away with a good time and escape from everything that's going on, the election, the pandemic, your weight, whatever, the spouse who's too close now that you've been cooped up. I just want the books to take you away. I'm not trying to get across a message or anything. I'm just trying to entertain and captivate and give you an escape from your day-to-day life.
I love that. Another one submitted in advance, Anne from the Mystery Readers Cafe asking, what is your, do you have any advice for aspiring writers?
Yes, read.
Ooh.
Read good books, read crappy books. And if a book makes you cry or makes you laugh or makes your pulse rate, go back and reread it, that section, and ask yourself, how the hell did the writer do that? Because unlike magicians, the trick is right there on the page. It's all there. What did he do? What was the misdirection? What was the word that, at what moment did I feel the tear? Did I feel the laughter coming? Learn those techniques. Or if a book bores you, ask yourself, or you don't buy it, don't believe in it, or it's unsatisfying. Ask yourself why. What mistake did this writer make that I should not make?
Ooh.
So you have to read a book once as a reader, but the second time as a writer, because the best lessons in writing are right there in the books you're reading.
Oh, I love that. I love that, Lee. Thank you. Mindy is saying all of the above. Gail saying she loves Murder by the Bookstore. Mindy saying, Mighty Blaze, thank you. And thank you, Lee Goldberg. Amy Cher saying, fantastic advice for writers. Amy's also a writer, I know, coming on the show in February. Thank you for that wonderful advice. I love how you said it and why you said it. I often find myself trying to ask myself those questions, but then I just get sucked into the story and forget to be the critical writer, to be the critical reader. But it's so true. And I liked how you said that it's, unlike magicians, it's right there on the page. Yes, that makes that, I get it.
A magician hides stuff from you. It's misdirection. You can watch a magician do his trick 1,000 times and not see how it's done because he hides stuff. A writer can't hide it. It's all right there on the page. So the key is figuring out, how did he or she pull it off? And if it's a mystery and it's an honest one, how did they trick me? Where did I miss it? And how did they hide it from me? And I did that a lot when I was a kid and a teenager. I studied the books I loved and asked myself those questions. And I would highlight stuff. Oh, this is how he or she did it. I do that even now. I can't turn it off. If I'm reading something and it's really working for me, I have to go back and ask myself why. If a book isn't working for me, I usually know right away, actually. It's like, oh God, I could have cut half this paragraph and made it so much better. I'm always editing the books I'm reading too. It's terrible. But I'm also a publisher. I have a small publishing company called Brash Books that doesn't publish any of my own books. But so I'm reading a lot of manuscripts and working with a lot of writers honing their books. And as a TV producer, I spend a lot of time rewriting scripts that are submitted to my shows by other writers. So I've also spent a lot of time on the other side of it, editing other people's work and bringing out the best in them and the best in their story. At least that's what I think. I know they think, oh God, Lee just took a big shit on my script book. And I'll tell him he did a great job, but God, I hate that fat son of a bitch. But anyway.
Oh my gosh, Lee, you have kept me so thoroughly entertained. That actually leads me into my next question. What writers do you admire? What writers do you like to read? What are you reading now?
Actually, right now, right here by my desk, I am reading Thomas Perry's Eddie's Boy.
Ooh.
Thomas Perry never disappoints. He is a prose pro. This guy, he's never written a bad book. He couldn't write a bad book if he tried, I don't think. He's one of the most dependable writers in the business, I think. I love what Ace Atkins has done with the Spencer novels. He's writing better than Robert B. Parker was when Robert B. Parker was still alive. I love Larry McMurtry. I love John Irving. There's so many writers I like. I devour Westerns. I devour literary fiction. I devour crime novels. Wow. I'm reading all the time because I think if you want to stay a good writer, if you want to stay relevant, you have to see what other people. I mean, Steph Chaw wrote a fantastic book, Your House Will Pay, this year. Lou Berney's November Road. S.A. Cosby's Blacktop. I forgot the title. Asphalt Highway or Blacktop, whatever. It was a great book. I'm having a senior moment here from not enough carbs, but
if only you had been allowed to have that Oreo instead of the stupid keto bar.
I could remember the name of his great book.
And actually, John Irving was on A Mighty Blaze, hosted by our co-founder Caroline Levitt. Wow. Yeah, and he doesn't really do events, so we were excited to have him. And he
should write a book sometime.
I know he really needs to do something
that has a circus in it, a bear, or a prostitute. I think, or if you put all three in a book for a change, that would really advance his career. That's
a circus prostitute with a bear. I mean, we could combine them.
Those are in every book he writes. I'm joking. It hasn't been a
He's,
book that hasn't had those.
he can elevate, he can elevate his circus.
I think maybe the fourth
bear
hand didn't
trope.
have a circus or a bear in it, but
Or a private school.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Anne from Thrillaholics wants to know if, and I thought this was a really good question, what fictional character would you see yourself as?
oh, James Bond. Isn't that obvious? I mean, take a look at me, honey.
Well, hey, you know what? I could have predicted that answer because your Instagram handle is 007.
Look, wrong thumb. Look what's behind me. I can't do this.
Oh,
I got all these Bond posters. I have every single James Bond poster.
oh, see,
I alternate them in my office every few weeks.
Oh, wow. So you rotate them.
Yeah.
Where did the ones that
I
aren't
wrote monk for a
circulating?
reason. I have an anal compulsive thing that involves Bond posters.
Where did the ones that aren't on the wall go?
They're in the garage. My wife only lets me have them in my office.
So then
I'm
they
not
get
allowed.
they get a
Bond posters
turn, or once
elsewhere.
they're done, do they rotate by season? Do they ever come back, or they're
No,
gone?
I just yeah. I mean the frames open up like movie theater frames, so I can easily put the posters in there. So they're rolled up in canisters, and I just pop them in there.
Wow. Okay, we've learned a lot about Lee Goldberg today.
More than you want to know.
And this has been a rollicking good time. Lee, I want to thank you so much for coming on Mighty Mysteries today. I absolutely love the way that you think about writing, how much you think about writing, how you describe it. I mean, you were just firing on all cylinders, and I feel like
And I got away without you asking me about the Playgirl letters.
So, well, I'm glad you
save
brought
that for next fall.
Oh my gosh, come back in October and we're going to talk about your career at Playgirl, because little
career at Playgirl. You're going to bring up the centerfolds now too? My God.
Listen, Lee, I'm going to dig out your cover, and that's going to be my background when you come back in October. It's not going to be your next book. It's going to be your Playgirl cover. If it's out there, I'll find it, and that's a promise. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. Thank you for tuning in from near and far. What a pleasure to have you all here. Thank you to my partner in crime and fellow author, Margaret Pinard, who has produced the show and handled things over on Facebook. And most of all, I want to thank Megan Beatty for bringing you our way. And thank you, Lee Goldberg, #1 New York Times bestselling author, incredibly accomplished in all you have done. Thank you for sharing your wit, your wisdom, your energy, and your incredible sense of humor with us today. What a pleasure it has been. Come back and talk to us in October when your next book is out. And good luck with Bone Canyon. I know I can't wait to read it.
Thank you.
Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you next time right here on A Mighty Mystery, coming up at 4 o'clock with Edwin Hill.